Hi, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to have a look at a little hack for FT8. It's going to help you to do parks on the air, SOTA and anything QRP with FT8. So, what is this hack, I hear you say? Well, it's quite simple really. It's a really simple thing. If you're really into FT8, you probably already know it anyway. But if you're using FT8 for parks on the air, or anything that you consider low power QRP, then this will really help you, and it'll really help you get the contacts. Now then, before I actually show you the hack, there are a couple of things you need to know. First of all, FT8 was really meant as a weak signal, as in the software that starts WS. It actually means weak signal, and you can see that if you have a look in the online manual. It tells you exactly that right at the beginning. Then it goes on further down to suggest that if you're using meteor scatter or anything like that, then you really need at least 100 watts or more with a yard gate on 2 meters or anything higher up. The only time it mentions QRPs in a tiny little snippet that says that really it was meant for QRP. Now then, here's the problem. People are not using it as QRP. They are using it as weak signal. So the other day there was somebody on 15 meters banging away 2 kilowatts, and they're the only person on there with, and they were just only coming through at 5 and 5. It should have been banging through, but the bang was so low. Went to FT8, there's somebody else on there who's a signal strength of 9, so they must have been pushing some power. Now then, the problem comes then is that if somebody's pushing that much power in your QRP, then how the hell do you get in there so that you can be heard? Well, it's fairly simple. If you imagine the bandwidth of it is that big, even on sideband, but the tone that you're sending out is only that big, then what you have to do is just move up and down until you find a clear area, and bang, you're in there. You can be heard, because the reception, your software will receive the whole bandwidth all at one go. But when you TX, it'll just do that little bit, so you can move up and down. You can be moving up and down and find a blank spot. Now then, I'm going to say run VT. I've always wanted to say that. Run VT, because I just did a video actually on the screen, so then I can point to it for you. So it might not be professional quality, but I don't care. You'll get the point. I've done a little video that shows you how to do it, and it's really simple, but it's using the graph. You know, the graph that sometimes you go like, what on earth's that about? Well, this is what it's about. Okay, so let's run VT. Right, so the process within itself is quite simple. What I want to do is just find a dead zone. So here you can see I've already clicked. We found a dead zone there. Now, to actually get that dead zone, all I need to do is to right click, and then just click on that. Do you see it come up there? Set RX and TX offsets, and it will go to the corner of where I've chosen. So just click on there again. You can see I've got an absolute dead zone there. Okay, so it's black going down there. I'm happy with that. So these are the high signals these are the strong signals. When we talked about high power, that's what you're looking at. The redder they are, the more high power there is. Now the other thing is to make sure that that box there is ticked. Hold text frequency. You need to make sure that that's been ticked. If you don't, what will happen is when you answer to one of these CQ calls, not only will the receive move, but the text will move as well, and that you don't want. You want to make sure that the text stays within that dead zone. That way you're going to be heard above all this other noise. Yep. So let's give it a go, shall we? And when we answer some of these CQ calls, you should be able to see the green, that's the receive, move up and down to match the frequency that they're using. If you look there, that's the frequency they're using, that's the frequency they're using. So you can see these up here, which is quite likely to be that one, is using quite a lot of power, and down there as well. So if we've got a low one, there was a low one there. Not quite that low though, that's round about 300-ish, give or take. I can't quite see one coming up. There's a 500 there. Okay, so I'm going to stick there. Now, the other thing is, there's the power slider for the ACL. You've got to keep your eye on the ACL. When you move up and down on that part, the ACL will change. So I keep an eye on the ACL on the radio. I've already checked the SWR, that's fine. I'm just going to very quickly check the ACL, and it needs turning up a little bit. There we go. Okay, now let's look at some of these signals. Well, let's reply to some of these CQ calls. Let's see what happens. So I have gone for K8 RRD, and there we go, K8 RRD. We're transmitting now. There we go, and I'm only running 70 watts, so let's see if this does reply to us. No, somebody else has already caught in. What we'll do, we'll halt the text. Okay, we'll wait for the next round to come up. Keep an eye out, make sure that that is still in the dead zone. And look at that, the receive has moved. You don't need to worry about where the receive is. Don't need to worry at all. Right, here we go, that's only -3, let's try that. Bearing in mind as well, I am only running 70 watts. The band is a little bit down. We'll see how we go on. Will they reply to us? Don't tell me I'm going to have one of those days. Here we go. So they're replying to us now. I'm a -13, they're a -8. That I would expect because I am only running 70 watts. But we should get another reply from them in a minute, saying that the report's received. One. There we go, report received. 73, I'll just give them a 73. And then we can log the QSO. There we go, we can log the QSO now and add. And then that can go on to QRZ.com later. And it's as simple as that. And you can see that green, where's it gone? You see the green receive moving up and down. The red transmitter stayed exactly where it needs to be in a dead zone. And that's how simple the hack is. Now, learning that little piece of information for me has really opened up FT8. I can now get contacts that I was struggling to get before, because I didn't realise that you could do that you could lock it in and say that's where I want to be. I want to be on that empty bit. If you watch the FT8 and you watch people, you notice that that box is unticked, so that frequency moves up and down and floats up and down according to what they're receiving. Sometimes everybody comes into one little area. Sometimes when you're watching it and it's mad, the whole lot gets filled up anyway. But if you're working out in the parks and you're working QRP or anything like that, try this little trick. It really works really well. And I've used it on a mere 20 watts and done some excellent work. My normal is to use around about 70 to 80 watts depending, and I still do some nice work because I can choose where I want to be. Anyway, I give it a go. Good luck with it, and until next time, best 73s.